The Egghead War in One Piece rages on, and it is surely going to continue in the upcoming One Piece 1094. In the previous chapter, the fight between Luffy and Kizaru continued, and fans also got a look at Zoro taking on Luchi in combat. At the same time, Vegapunk went to the Fabria phase in order to rescue Bonnie, and also to turn the Pacifistas to his side once again. All things worked out well for the Straw Hat Pirates, with Luffy keeping Kizaru at bay and Zoro keeping Luchi busy. Vegapunk was safely able to get down and also order the Pacifistas back to his side. One Piece chapter 1094 will continue the story from there, and fans are incredibly excited about that. Luffy vs Kizaru continues. One thing that every fan can be sure about is the fact that One Piece chapter 1094 will most definitely continue to fight between Luffy and Kizaru. These two characters were seen fighting in the previous chapter, however, much to the surprise of the fans. The Marine Admiral does not seem all that intent on fighting. Instead, his mission matters more to him, and, as a result, he is trying his best to get rid of Luffy, so he gets an opportunity to assassinate Vegapunk. If he gets involved in an extended battle with Luffy, he knows that his chances of getting rid of Vegapunk go down considerably. As such, it would be much smarter for him to keep Luffy busy with his party tricks and get the real job done. He already attempted this once in the previous chapter, and in the next one, fans might see him actually do this once again. It must be remembered that Vegapunk is currently in the Fabria phase, while the Frontier Dome is already locked. Kizaru is made of light and can easily pass through. Luffy, on the other hand, might have to force himself out of the dome as well and follow him down to the Fabria phase, which is where the remaining of the fighting might take place. Normally, Vegapunk would have been endangered had he gone to the level below by himself. However, he does have Sanji with him, so, in any case, even if Kizaru attacks, the cook can take care of the former marine scientist. Luffy has already crossed the Frontier Dome twice, and it is expected of him to do it once again, if need be. Pacifistas versus Marines. One Piece chapter 1094 will also, most likely, feature a battle between the Pacifistas and the Marines who are currently on the Fabria phase. A few chapters ago, it was established that the Marines had successfully taken control of the level below on Egghead. This means the vast majority of the 9 Vice Admirals are currently on the island. After Kizaru took control of the Pacifistas, they likely did not have much to do and were on standby. However, in the previous chapter, Atlas took control of them once again, and that only means that the Vice Admirals will be called into action. The Pacifistas were asked to deal with the threat of the Marines and eliminate them all. That is something fans will likely see in One Piece chapter 1094, as these powerful cyborgs show what exactly their level of power is. One Piece 1094 also allows the fans a moment to gauge how strong the Marine Vice Admirals are as well. While it is a known fact that the strength among the Vice Admirals varies, fans also know that there are some very powerful ones out there on Egghead right now. The likes of Dahl and Doberman are ones that fans should keep an eye out for. There are also many other Vice Admirals that could actually turn out to be strong and surprise the fans. After all, these are powerful fighters with decent control over Haki that can surprise anyone. It is very likely that these two characters will be seen in combat against the likes of the Mark III Pacifistas or other pirates such as Bonnie, Frankie, and Sanji. Regardless, fans should completely expect One Piece 1094 to feature the Marines heavily as the story gets taken to the Fabria phase. Saturn makes his move. With Atlas having taken control over the Pacifistas, a very interesting plot point is triggered in One Piece, and fans can very well see that take place in One Piece chapter 1094. Time and again, in the Egghead arc, the Pacifista control hierarchy has been explained to the fans. While Vegapunk possesses the highest level of control over these Pacifistas on the island, at the very top are the 5 Elders. Unbeknownst to Vegapunk, one of the 5 Elders, Saturn, is currently right outside the island as well aboard one of the vessels. Fans might get to see the Pacifistas on the side of Vegapunk and the pirates for a while, however. It won't be long until Saturn will be forced to make a move and order these Pacifistas to listen to him and attack all the pirates instead. This is a plot point that will come into play sooner rather than later, and given the ominous panel that One Piece chapter 1093 ended on, the time for it could be now. If this ends up happening, then One Piece chapter 1094 will see the backs of the Straw Hat Pirates turn to the wall. They will have nowhere to run, and the forces of the enemies would simply be too overwhelming. Fans already know that Luffy is currently busy fighting against Kizaru. Zoro, on the other hand, is fighting against Luchi. Sanji, as strong as he is, can't take on 50 Pacifistas as well as 9 vice admirals. Jinbei is currently preparing for the escape, while Robin was seen injured previously. There is not enough firepower for the Straw Hat Pirates to combat all these powerful forces. The chances for victory get lowered even further if Saturn decides to join the battle himself. However, there is one trump card that could very well help them in this battle. The Iron Giant wakes up. Quite easily, the biggest trump card of the Straw Hat Pirates in this fight is the Iron Giant. Fans know that Luffy ended up awakening the Giant in the previous chapter once he used the giant form of Gear 5 in his fight against Kizaru. This Iron Giant is now awake, and it is only a matter of time before it starts moving once again. Its previous target was Mary Ajoy, so, at the moment, it would be difficult to say what exactly its current target is going to be. However, the fact that Luffy is the one who could power it up also suggests that he can control it as well. If that is true, then the Straw Hat Pirates will have a very powerful ally at their aid that could help them destroy the Navy fleet and, at the same time, also provide an escape from the island. Furthermore, the crew desperately needs to regroup and reconsider their priorities in this fight. Luffy needs to take care of Saturn in this battle, given that he's likely going to be the strongest as one of the warrior gods of the world. Kizaru should be taken on by the combined forces of Zoro and Sanji. Meanwhile, Jinbei could do well against Luchi, just as he did against Who's Who. The Pacifistas could all be taken on by the Iron Giant, while the Straw Hat Pirates take care of the Marine Vice Admirals one by one. This battle is going to be an uphill one for the crew, however. It is one that they absolutely have to win if they want to protect Vegapunk and, more importantly, continue their journey as pirates on the seas. One Piece Chapter 1094 is going to be crucial, as these major plot points will be tackled in the chapter. And in other news, One Piece 1093, Gear 5 Luffy in full swing. One Piece Chapter 1093 continued the fight between Luffy and Kizaru on Egghead. This fight has been incredibly exciting for the fans to witness so far. In the previous chapter, Luffy used his Snakeman form to deal with Kizaru, only to find out that it wasn't enough. At the end of the chapter, he tapped into the powers of Gear 5, and fans knew that it was coming sooner rather than later. One Piece Chapter 1093 continued the fight from there onwards, and it is safe to say that this chapter delivered a fun battle between these two powerhouses. At the same time, other fights were also touched upon, while major plot developments took place in regard to Dr. Vegapunk. Gear 5 Luffy vs. Kizaru. The vast majority of One Piece Chapter 1093 was, of course, the battle between Luffy and Kizaru. This fight started with Luffy hurling him away from Egghead and attempting to throw him into the ocean. The idea was quite smart, however, given that Kizaru is the fastest man in the world of One Piece and, at the same time, can fly. This idea would never have worked. He easily changed his trajectory and returned to the battlefield using Yasakani no Magatama. Immediately appearing in front of Luffy once again, Kizaru displayed a completely new technique. This time around, he created many clones of himself using his light powers. This gave Luffy quite a headache as he could not figure out which the real body was. However, in the end, he ended up destroying them all with minimal effort. That is precisely when he realized that Kizaru is actually not looking to fight him. This fight isn't what fans thought it would be. Simply put, this is not a proper battle of Luffy versus Kizaru. Instead, this is Luffy trying to stop Kizaru from assassinating Dr. Vegapunk. The Marine Admiral only cares about killing Vegapunk, and he wants to do it as quickly as possible. He is not interested in taking on Luffy, because that would be detrimental to his goal, as he would likely end up losing. The fact that he is the fastest in the world only benefits him, as he can easily get to Vegapunk quickly and get the job done. That is precisely what he attempted in this week's chapter, when he tried sniping him from above while the scientist was on the move. However, Luffy, thankfully, got in the way and ended up eating the light thrown by Kizaru. This, while funny, might end up turning into a fascinating plot point where Luffy absorbs this power and utilizes it in battle moving forward. By all means, the fight between Luffy and Kizaru in One Piece chapter 1093 was very fun. However, the realization that the Admiral was looking to avoid the fight altogether certainly took the fans by surprise. Zoro vs Luchi. Luffy vs Kizaru was certainly not the only fight that was focused on in One Piece chapter 1093. The manga also took the fans' attention elsewhere and showcased Zoro fighting against Luchi. This fight began as soon as Luffy vs Kizaru started, but fans did not get to see a glimpse of it in the previous chapter. This week, a proper glimpse was provided of these two characters fighting. Both of them looked to be going all out from the get-go. Zoro is utilizing all three of his swords and, much to the surprise of the fans, he is also tapping into the powers of Enma, which means Zoro is actually utilizing his King of Hell mode and fully letting out his color as Supreme King Haki to help him deal with Rob Lucci. Meanwhile, the CP0 agent is not holding back either. He has already entered his awakening and is using his newfound powers to fight against the Straw Hat Swordsman. These two seem to be evenly matched and both have been shown to be great users of Haki so far. Zoro, despite tapping into the color of the Supreme King, is not able to slice Lucci at all. This just goes to show the incredible Haki as well as the physical prowess that Lucci possesses. Fans also got to see Luffy telling Zoro that he would be willing to help him if he needed it. However, the swordsman asked him to leave this task to himself. Zoro immediately noted that there was a gulf between Lucci and Luffy. He told the CP0 agent that his level of strength does not see him fit enough to fight against Luffy, to which he replied that he would be glad to take the head of an Emperor's number 2. Vegapunk to the Frontier Dome. One Piece chapter 1093 also focused quite a bit on the other members of the Straw Hat Pirates. Currently, Jinbei is staying away from all the fighting and his job is to carry the belongings of Vegapunk to the back of the island. Meanwhile, Vegapunk himself, along with Atlas, Sanji, and Frankie are going to the Fabria phase. Jewelry Bonnie, who was kicked by Kizaru in the previous chapter, was seen being rescued by Sentomaru. She is already fighting against the Marines on the Fabria phase, and was seen having altered their ages. So far, it appears that she has not run into any Vice Admiral of the Navy. However, sooner rather than later, she is going to be faced with powerful enemies. Thankfully for her, Sanji is on the way, and these two are likely going to team up to fight against the Navy down below. As for Vegapunk, the goal right now is to rescue Bonnie. He seems particularly concerned about her, even though fans have seen him sacrifice things close to him without much regard for them in the past. Vegapunk wants to rescue her and, at the same time, change the orders of the Pacifistas to have them become allies in this war. Saturn's threat looming. One Piece chapter 1093 saw Vegapunk and the Straw Hat Pirates finally get to the Fabria phase, and there, they successfully changed the orders that were given to the Pacifistas by Kizaru. Atlas ordered them to aid them in battle and destroy all the Marines. It appears that the order the Kizaru gave them was successfully overridden, and now the Pacifistas are going to be allies. However, this is not going to be the case for long. Fans know for a fact that Saturn is on one of the vessels, and this is precisely why he was brought to the island. Thanks to him, the Pacifistas can be turned against the Straw Hat Pirates and Vegapunk at a moment's notice. The last panel of the chapter saw Saturn looking very ominous, and this pretty much confirms that he's going to join the battle very soon. The first thing that he's going to do is switch the Pacifistas once again and turn them against the Straw Hat Pirates. Vegapunk mentioned in the chapter that he who holds the key to the Pacifistas will win the war. Of course, the Pacifistas will be turned against the Straw Hat Pirates, and the crew will begin to be cornered. That certainly won't be the end of things though. Fans know for a fact that the Iron Giant has awakened, and it is going to be the biggest ally of the Straw Hat Pirates. For all that to unfold, however, fans will have to wait. That's a wrap for this video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We'll be back with more amazing videos very soon.